Yeah, but you wouldn't know.
Hold on just a second, Kevin. Let me get this.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Give me one. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, the date's right there. Don't even need to write it. You wrote it for me. So welcome to our, budget meeting. This is our second formal budget meeting with everybody. There's been a number of smaller budget meetings with different departments and different groups. But as a board, you're all assigned to the budget. So, here's our official budget meeting. This is draft 5, and it was updated today. Draft 4 happened yesterday and had some changes based on some individual meetings and whatnot. So actually, this is still another draft, and I haven't actually seen the entire bottom of this. So today we have until 4:15, so that everybody can take a break between now and the board meeting. And Rhonda also has some revenue and other things to share with us too, and some additional, I guess, just general information, like health insurance and things like that. Rhonda's gonna do about bulk of the talking today, believe it or not, and I will be quiet. I need one more. This one? Yes, please. Having to feel your pain. All right, Miss Rhonda, you tell us where you want to start. Yeah, I knew it. Right under the wire.
As Shelley said, this is version 5. We've been reviewing and making updates and changes. The last things I need to make for changes are the white areas, which is for workman's comp. I reached back out again today to see if I can get some history or some information for workman's comp. No response yet. For the last 2 years, it looks like it's gone up about 2% each year. So I'm kind of banking on that with that information, but I didn't fill it in yet, because I hope they want to hear from them again. One of the major changes, which I have not made up in this yet, is the NEABT trust. We received a letter from them that this is anticipated increased cost of 17.9, almost 18%. We don't know where we're gonna land in that. I did a quick calculation and tried to do an increase of an additional 4% on health insurance, we did 3% earlier.
Right.
That would make our health costs go up another $33,000, just over $33,000, making our total health expense for the district $859,067 as it stands right now. People come, people go, we'll see how it plays out, but we're looking at just shy of $859,000.
And remember, this is all just a guess, because we budgeted for 8, which the 2 years that I've been here has been plenty. So she's estimating an extra 4, taking it to 12, but our letter says it can go up to 17. In the last 2 years, the top is what we've been charged.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, that that's an awful number
So
for us.
going to 16 would be another 33,000?
Yes.
Or more above that.
Going to 16 would be another.
Another 33,
Another
yeah, so
33.
we're gonna add over 60,000, almost $70,000 onto whatever we've got for health insurance. Yeah, so we're just, hopeful that they come up with some solutions. They're trying to problem solve some of their own funding sources, according to the letter. So, yeah,
They brought down the cost last year, used $28 million they had in savings and included that part as part of the buy down. They don't anticipate receiving any additional money back, and they need to kind of fill the $20 million gap that they projected to use. Yeah. It might go up. It will go up, we just don't know how much it's gonna go up.
And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the way that they set these rates are that very similar to the way that workman's comp is set. So it's based on usage. So when they calculate it, it's based on how much we've used in our region, in our specific area. So we have a lot of people on health insurance because we have a whole group on top of those employed currently. And so our usage is fairly high. Like I said, the last 2 years, we've been to the top of it. We get that letter every year. Last 2 years, we've been at the top. So I just want you prepared and hopefully we don't get there.
So the bottom line has changed a little bit more.
Backstage.
Get the very back page, page 22. The rest pretty much stayed consistent. But from the last time that we talked, we were under. No, but now we're over the 80. We're now over by $20,000. From the 20 budget. That 6 is supposed to be a 5. I've got an error in there somewhere. I found it earlier. Did you have a 5?
I don't know which 6 and which 5.
This one here. In FY 24, that's supposed to be a 5. That was last year's budget.
So it's 855.
8556. 855 7419 39.
Oh yeah, Donnie's is right.
855701996.
Yep, so I must have, you're right. Well, I got the wrong one.
Yeah, mine's wrong too. Well, there you go.
Well, there I go. Let's see this file then.
So with this, what Rhonda's saying is that there's a $20,000 increase from last year's overall number. We've had all of our department meetings more than once. We met with Grant Street again today. So we're still making some adjustments, but I'll be honest and say not every adjustment is going down because sometimes we have to go in the other direction because we need things.
And this does not include the additional 4%. So we need to add another $33,000 to that bottom number, 574. Like health insurance is a work in progress, so. In the work in progress, the total anticipated cost with the 30,000 should be $8,608,430.
You say that again, please?
$8,608,433.
What's that, 32%?
Yep, it is correct. It should be 0.478 is what I wrote down. 0.478. What, 0.478?
What is the contracted busing in yellow? That just meaning you have to check it again?
I didn't change that white, but I did change the figure to update them to 237 for the 4.5% increase that he requested.
And if you remember last year when we were tight with our budget, we had signed an agreement with Mr. Bragdon for 3% for 3 years. And because we were tight, he was willing to take 1.5%. So this being, and at that time, we were very appreciative, we needed that. But he did ask if this year he could recoup that, which meant that our budget went up 4.5%.
And that 46,840 under the contracted busing, that's the UT cost, so we get that back in revenue. It's a wash.
Everybody see where that is? Document has had really not a lot of changes since you saw it last. Today with Granite Street, we changed a couple of things in the supply line. We changed one in the IT line. We confirmed that we had, busing, like for the fall play and for the Christmas pageant. Like we confirmed that there was busing for things like that, looked at, field trip,
Technology,
technology.
and since we met last, when we get to meet with the rest of the speakers.
Yes,
those have been
yes.
filled in.
Yeah, so if you want to take a look at that section, that one,
That's on page-
was mostly predominantly white, I think, when you saw it last time, and those numbers are all of them.
What page is that on?
That's on page 20.
Our, fuel bid, Kevin, is, goes out Tuesday, so we've been watching that closely.
What is the Aqua number in here already? Yeah,
For fuel,
but I mean for
80.
gallons.
I can't tell you gallons, for operations, there's 80,400. Under, plant for elementary.
Yeah.
80,400, and then 167,500 for,
20 less than last year.
So his fuel oil on his note, he had 24,000 gallons for Granite Street and 50,000 gallons for Stearns.
Is that assuming that we're gonna top off at the end of the summer?
I don't have that note. His fuel bid's like March, so that he would have to answer.
if it's a winter like we had last year, I mean, we
Well,
were
it's
in
been
good
good
shape,
so
we
far,
actually
yeah.
saved, yeah.
Are we on the solar farm now?
I'm not entirely sure. I think we are, I think we started last year with a 15% savings for us. Yeah,
Are we gonna see that in this or is that like? in the electricity?
Well, some things could happen too. So everyone's seeing that 25% tax on electricity from Hydro-Quebec.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a lot of that. You know.
Louis is planning to be at the board meeting, and feel free to ask me, I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah. You want to go over to the revenue page or the town fair page and just take a peek at those in process? And I don't mean to hurry you, if there are other things on this document, it's just, there really hasn't been a lot of change.
I don't know if everyone saw it today, but the guy in Valley Health Center is laying a bunch of people off. So, the trickle down stuff is starting to happen, you know? He said as of Wednesday, they cut Medicaid payments.
They cut a day in the pharmacy, closed a day in the pharmacy. Katie, I think, told me there was at least 7 laid off. The other day.
So I just saw that stuff, and that happened, so.
That's
Trickle down stuff
funded
is gonna happen.
federally.
What did you say about Medicaid?
Medicaid, they're making cuts on Medicaid
Have they-
payments.
Have they
Payments.
on payments?
On payments.
Okay.
Starting to go back to that work.
They shut things off. and
Defense people that.
Some of the
go
stuff's
through our
trickling
businesses that
in
go
anyway.
through already. I'm sure. That's how it is.
So that's just gonna cause a lot more pain for a lot of people in the area.
Right.
I didn't know if anyone had seen that.
I haven't seen it. We have a good Patton Valley Health Center in our town too, in Patton.
And they
as well as
take
like
named
they do
dogs
here.
down Dole, Foxborough, to Brownville.
They did really,
There's all kinds of Milo, I think.
they've really struggled to, at least the one in my area, they've really struggled to keep, doctors and physicians. So I hope that that doesn't, affect them too much like that, you know? I have no idea what their capacity, how many people are, do the work behind the scenes, you know?
On the projected revenue sheet. You guys have that in front of you, like this. Alright, the three are the figures I've been able to verify. It's still a work in progress. So I have a few more to actually look at. With the recreational receipts, compare that to last year's. It's been pretty steady, so I'm assuming it'll be okay again. The UT special ed cost for reimbursement for students, UT students for special ed. We get reimbursed for that. Probably have to see this. For the Titan special education director, that's half the cost of what we've been reimbursed for her salary of next year. I did add Mrs. Lane's health insurance and cell. I know I'm missing one more. But that's just a projection. And we don't have any carryover forward information yet from the auditor. They are looking at finishing up our audit, but I don't have those figures yet. So that will come into play in this, and that'll also come into play on the town share of FY 26 school budget.
Artists, so we're still trying to figure out what the additional appropriation is.
Right, do have a draft of it,
Okay.
but that's without,
Are we in the ballpark where we were last year?
we are up launched here. If you look at that sheet. Did you get that sheet? There's the draft. There's nothing filled in for carry forward, so I don't know where that stands.
How much did we have left after the 430 we used last year? Was it, or did we use all of our surplus?
They, remember, we had to come back after we did the second vote and they took another 120. So
There's nothing.
there really is nothing other than the money that is specifically allocated for our roof repairs.
Or our surplus is zero unless we come in with something from beyond.
Yes. Yes. But if, remember that when, in the conversations that we had with the town, they wanted to use those dollars for tax relief for citizens, which is fine. Because we had the conversation on, what if we need something? What if we have an emergency? Like, you remember the phrase of like, do you have our back? All of that conversation. So,
Yeah.
so yes, they really, it really is, pretty much depleted with the idea if there's, we lose a pump or we need some big dollars, that the town's got our back for those things. So there is not money just sitting somewhere, not on the education side of things.
Scary run with that.
Well, but technically we have the town behind us though, right? It's kind of like a savings account, I guess. So that's the good news, folks. Health insurance looks a little scary. Revenues aren't all in.
Health insurance scary. We don't know where we sit with. Pretty much know where we sit with final negotiations, but that's something that we will be able to finalize in this once we know where we sit.
Does this budget account for filling all positions? Or are there
Yes.
certain that we're not, there's some that we're not filling? So this is if we fill every
We
position,
fill every position.
Yes.
and if they don't get full, that's extra that we don't spend.
Yes. We don't have a lot of empty positions right now, though.
Well, that's good.
We're still looking for language. I'm actually working with another school district to get a language instructor by Zoom. But that's funded for a halftime position. We're still looking at getting a halftime GT position, also cooperating with another school system. Almost everything else is full. We really don't. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
We've had a little bit of turnover this year, as recent as special ed a few weeks ago, but we've been fortunate enough to find good candidates to fill in.
But we do have some older people retiring.
We have-
Scale and-
Yeah.
We have one ed tech that's retiring and one teacher.
Yeah,
And-
place.
As far as I know, Kevin, we will replace them. We are looking at numbers to see what classroom sizes
Yeah.
would be. And we're looking to see what, like our need would be for ed techs. At this moment, we are planning to,
Anticipate.
yes, we're anticipating it. But as we fill in this chart with other information, we may have to make some of those difficult decisions. I have a couple of thoughts by having conversations with the principals and department heads of things that we could possibly do. But if you look backwards over the last couple of years, we've made a lot of changes. We've trimmed a lot of areas. And even without affecting people like employees, Rhonda has aligned the document to be more precise with the cost centers. And we've also found a lot of poorly calculated numbers from past budgets. So some of the money that we were able to say was reduced by last year was looking at some of those things. So you're not actually talking real dollars, you're talking, it wasn't properly put into the chart. And she's brought that all in line. So do we have a lot of extra sitting on the fringes? We really don't. We really don't. We trimmed a lot of that last year. That's why we're having more department conversations. And like I said, we had another one today to see, I'm asking people to be thinking. If we have to think about, making a change, what will it look like? What will it impact? Who will it impact? What's the best way to do it? Let's look at certifications. Let's look at class size. Like we're having all of those conversations. We are fortunate that our subsidy went up. It's not up substantially, but we have neighbors that subsidy went down. So at least that's one thing that we don't have to be concerned. I think, Kevin, I think you pointed out yesterday that this is our last debt service. So that's quite a bit of money there. Debt service payment. Yes, for the, for region.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Other things, Ms. Rhonda? Questions from anybody?
I don't think we have much of, there hasn't been a whole lot of extra changes since the last one. Just trying to fill in the rest of the figures as they come available to me. Revenue sheet was another piece that I did finish, except for my few minutes. Then the eye opener was at the time share for the time being until we have some more concrete numbers from the auditor.
Yeah, you notice that makes quite a difference. 515 and 24 and 430 and 25. That's a lot.
Our additional revenues, is that from the national program?
That is from anything that would be from the international program, which is minor. That's changed. EUT tuition. These other programs. So from EUT, international program down to all the way down to health superintendent and cell phone.
We talked about this a little bit last night, I think, Dawn and I were, negotiations. If this all keeps going the direction it's going, could the Chinese be cut off, that they won't allow us to educate their kids? If that's the case, should we be budgeting anything? Or should we be, budgeting a little more and then not
Right,
having to do it, or?
right. That's a great question. If you notice, there's actually a pretty significant difference this year because we don't know that variable. We have changed the international contract, as you know, because we brought that to you like a month ago. But those are the reasons why we were making those adjustments is because you know, it really is a variable that we can't predict and, you know, things are changing rather quickly at the moment. So we felt like the 25 was, a safe number. For one thing, that part of the revenue will come in, some of that will come in the fall. And just because of the time, it should fit squarely there. So it feels like, and that number, the 75 was down from the year before. So we've slowly gone in that direction. That's a good
Look, we
question.
still have a half coordinator, right? For that,
We do, it's not half, it's a fraction of that, because she also is the ELO for the workforce grant. So she's just, if there's something to do for international, she's doing it, she'll keep up our SEVA, connection, our recognition and all of those things. We need somebody in that role in order to not drop that, because that's a lot of paperwork in order to get it started. So next week, I think on the 19th, she's gonna be here when we have the actual like SEVA visit. But that's like 15 minutes in my office, but those are things that we don't want to let go because, you know, things can turn around and look different too.
so does the 25,000 cover what we,
Per week,
Yes.
yes, it absolutely does. Yep, it does. So when Rhonda talks about a wash, that's pretty much a wash. It's hard to believe, but when Rhonda starts working on this document, one of our first conversations was put in all of the things that are fixed. When you put in all of the things that are fixed, there's just such a small part left. When we talk about budgeting, like teachers are excited to like move their budget. Well, their budgets are like $300. So it is really just a fraction of this whole thing that is not fixed.
Salaries,
Salaries,
insurance,
yeah,
drive, pretty much drive this.
Yeah.
Contracted services, you get
yeah,
about 85% of your budget is.
yeah. It's all set. Yeah, that's right.
you know, I have a question on the very first one on expense side.
Yep.
We're showing 25% decrease. Should that actually be 40%? They have 2 days and we have 3.
It just isn't, figured out that way because they're two separate contracts. That's why the revenue side of this, doesn't include, like the 40,000 that we'll be saving. It's more, the revenue side reflects the money that we're gonna charge them. Where right now you guys are only gonna pay for the portion, that we agreed on for salary.
So we're paying 100,000
Mhm,
for your salary,
mhm.
33,000 is them.
33,000 is in savings. They're, unlike the special ed, which is an MOU, this isn't an MOU, it's just two separate contracts.
So
But it's 33,000 on us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is, it's
So
33,000
it's
on you.
basically 25% really.
25% of it, yeah.
Yeah,
25%
yeah, yeah,
reduction.
yeah.
So whatever she negotiates on the other end is on their
On their
on their
side, yeah.
side of it. We're only gonna get reimbursed for her health insurance and some minor costs with cell phone, those minor things.
And then the other savings, of course, will be, things like the, main PERS payments, the unemployment workers comp, like all of those things added together. And those numbers, I don't know if those are adjusted yet.
The main person is just automatically when I calculate.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, automatically calculate.
And workers' comp we're still waiting on, so those will adjust through the whole document.
We are saving some on health insurance too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Half.
It's on the,
But that's on the revenue side. I wouldn't reduce it here. I'm gonna reduce, it's gonna be on the revenue
it's
side.
on the.
We're paying for everything.
Revenue side, like second.
Yeah.
line.
I see.
And then
And
bill.
then they're gonna bill them. They're gonna
Yeah.
reimburse.
Yes,
Looks like 6,500.
Shows an income in.
Itself.
and
On the.
yeah, exactly, just like Jan's and where, you know, like Ron invoices them once a month. Well, it seems like, we have plenty of time, but if anybody doesn't have any questions, then we can call it and then we're meeting at 4:30. We had no idea to know how long this would take, right? So, you know. We do, yeah. Our next conversation on budget is, anticipated to be the board meeting that we vote at. So we would have all of our final numbers, revenue would be final, like all of the things in front of you would be final by the next time we all meet. That doesn't mean that you can't stop at any time, see how, you know, send me an email, give me a call. Have you got numbers? Do you know what's happening? When we get the health insurance number, which is really the white elephant in the room, we'll send you a text message and let everybody know what that number looks like, because that's, pretty critical for, how we look at this.
So we're looking at tying it up on April 8th.
Yes, yep. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's.
I've got it.
It's the-
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'll be
Yep.
virtually voting. The 8th and we'll be in Boston.
Oh, yes, virtually voting. I'm glad you mentioned that. So yes, she is out of town. But, it's perfectly fine to virtually vote. We just have to all do it out loud. Is everybody okay with doing that?
I'll
Yeah.
bring the,
Okay.
I'll tune
Yeah.
in from the hotel and.
Yeah.
And do that stuff, and then we'll go do the thing we have to, it shouldn't
Yeah,
conflict at all.
yeah. I'm
I'll
glad
be
you
here
said
in
that.
spirit.
And on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? Even on a day I don't have to
Where are you
work.
going?
Boston, we have,
Yeah.
it's Jake's birthday gift. Concert.
Yep. Turn. You have to.
Okay.
Motion. We are adjourned. We can vote. There we are adjourned.
Okay, to shut it.
5-0.
Camera, you all set?